We are approaching the deadline of the MDR and companies started the implementation. How do you experience this process so far?
Companies do this in different ways. Bigger companies, multinationals, actually have started big projects to implement all the MDR requirements in the QMS, in the technical documentation. Also sometimes needs updating of their IT structures. And so they are well on their way. Some of them already have had surveillance audits and have done stage 1 and stage 2 MDR audits. So that's for the bigger companies. The smaller ones do have different kinds of projects because it's not really a process approach. You can do your remediation of your tech files case by case. And then it's not a big issue because the burden is only a few tech files. And there are also manufacturers of low-risk devices, class 1, which haven't put much effort in the implementation of the MDR. So there are big differences between type of companies, big, small, high-risk, low-risk devices.
And if we are talking about risk, what are the main issues that manufacturers have at the moment?
Resources is a big issue. So it's very difficult to get hold of regulatory people, for instance. So we get lots of requests for support in, for instance, technical file remediation. That's a lot of burden to departments, especially regulatory departments. And if the people are not there, you can't find additional resources to do the work, you have an issue. And that's something we see very often at this moment.
Okay, and we would also like to have a recap of the year 2019. What were the trends in the medtech world so far?
Well, what we see is that most of the companies are aware of what is coming at them. It's not always completely clear how to interpret the TMDR. So there is slowly advice coming and guidance is coming from the EU. But still we have lots of differences in interpretation. So sometimes it's not that clear what needs to be implemented. What we see is a lot of work needs to be done on tech file remediation in many cases to raise the compliance level and meet all the requirements of the MDR. And there we have issue that some of the manufacturers can do the work on top of all the normal work that also has to be done. So that's something we see that can be really burdensome. So some are behind schedule. And hopefully everybody's able to make it for their products that they want to keep in the market after 2020.
And what are your expectations for 2020?
Well, we currently don't see yet that there are coming less innovations in the market. But we know, and several manufacturers also state this, that not in all cases will keep products in the market because they're old and they are being replaced by new versions. So there will be a shakeout of certain devices that will not have an MDR certificate. And I'm curious to see if the companies can keep up their speed in bringing new innovations to the market because they have so many tasks to perform in the regulatory and R&D departments to keep the current products on the market. So I'm curious to see if we see a fallback in innovations in 2020 and the years after.
And what is the take-home message for 2020 you would like to give to all of our viewers?
Well, I would say not everything is clear what to do looking at implementation of MDR requirements. So there are still uncertainties and not in all cases we have guidances in place yet. But I would say please prepare, make a good regulatory strategy. What portfolio do you want to keep in the market? Where do you want to invest? And start remediating your technical documentation because if you haven't started yet, time is running short May 2020 is approaching, and especially for those products that don't have a CE certificate currently, they will need to comply in 6 months' time. So I would say if you haven't started, start now.